Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac, and on this bonus episode, we are doing a testimony episode with Mike and Krista from Unknown Paranormal.
Hey, how's it going, Isaac?
Yeah. So we had you guys on before for the round table.
That's right.
I'm sorry, did I say Krista or Christy? It's supposed to be Christy, right?
It's Christy. Yeah.
Christy, sorry. Had Christy on, Megan had her on for a bonus episode that's going to come out beforehand. And so you guys heard her journey as a psychic and stuff like that. But we're not talking about that today. What we're talking about is a situation that you two were in that required our services, or at least what me and Megan can do. So if you want to tell everyone, like, when did you start noticing it, and then when did it get bad enough for you to call me and Megan?
Well, for me, it really started feeling like, I'm going to say a week or so after we did a local investigation, our house started feeling like creating darkness. We were spending more time away from the house. My oldest son was starting to draw more violent pictures with his drawings, and he's only 5. And I know they have an open imaginary and whatnot,
but he's not exposed to that.
No, we don't. Like, he doesn't watch horror films with us. If we allow him to watch YouTube and stuff like that, it's very monitored. In fact, both my kids watch YouTube off a kids channel version of YouTube. But he was drawing pictures of people dying and blood and, Mom and Dad, this guy's holding an axe and he chopped his head off. It's getting to a point where it was raising a few red flags. But I think, when visitors, your regular visitors, like your own family, find reasons and excuses to stop showing up to the house, that was something that raised concern to us. The feeling upstairs in the bedroom, Christy would not want to sleep in the bedroom. We either had to have the TV light or the TV on. We went out and purchased little night lights for the hallway and the bedroom just for her to keep her sanity. And one night we decided to go grab a coffee together, and we were chatting about our feelings about the house and stuff like this. And a lot of recommendations that we were getting from close friends was, investigate your house and treat it like a home investigation. Find out what it is or who it is before anything.
Yeah, but we didn't really want to do that with the house. We don't leave the house. So.
And that's the thing. Having our kids have been our number one priority. Here at the house, we don't talk about paranormal around the children, and we will not do a home investigation if the kids are sleeping or whatnot. So this is something that we went for a drive to talk about. It really became about our safety and what to do next. And the next thing we did was we got a hold of Megan and Isaac, and the help that the help that they have provided, the help that you guys have provided us, has been extremely fast, and it's been 100-degree turnover, I think, in my eyes, for sure.
Now, I don't say, like, how long were you experiencing this stuff before it got to the point where you had to call us?
I'm going to say about a couple months. We waited a while. A month, 2 months the most.
So it worked pretty fast then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, especially for me, like before that drive, we ended up, when I woke up in the middle of the night, I heard such a creepy ass voice just yelling. And that was it for me. It did not sound friendly. It didn't want to play. It was scary. And I told them that's when it was, we need to figure this out. We're all going to lose our minds.
Well, in previous cases that we've worked before, some people have lived with it for years, decades even, and they've done things like push it away, use sage, had different shamans come in and stuff like that, try to keep it at bay, or shun it away for a little bit, stuff like that. But in your guys' case, you knew people. And luckily, the first ones to call were us, because when it comes to taking these things out and fast about it as well. But I guess, what did you said you heard a voice, Christy, that beforehand?
Yeah.
Was it like loud in the out loud, or did you hear it in your mind?
I was like in a sleeping state. It woke me up from a sleeping state. And it was just okay, so getting into it, our spirit that we have here as well in our bear. He also stopped showing himself for everything, anything. And I feel like whatever the demon or entity that is here was keeping him away, because when he screamed, he said, "Get back here, you little shit." I just felt like it was towards that.
Well, yeah, you had, Christy had some stories. So, Isaac, I don't know if you, behind me here, I have a stuffed bear. And that's the bear that has our 10-year-old spirit attachment to it. So there was a night where we slept with our door open. And Christy just so happened to look out the door and saw what was to be a child holding the version of this bear in his hand. And the only difference bear-wise was our bear doesn't have ears. That's the way he came. But in her sight of this child, the bear had ears. Standing behind the bear was a shadow figure. So the story, when I hear the story or I say the story, I feel that the shadow man that Christy witnessed standing behind the spiritual child was using him either as a protection or a way of letting them know that what's around in the house. The story with what Christy said about hearing this yell, this voice saying, "Come back here, you little shit." Personally, I believe that the child was trapped by this entity, and he had found a way to escape. And when he left, Christy heard that male voice saying, "Come back here." To make that a step forward, after with you, Megan, and yourselves help with our situation, we took Burke for an investigation because we are currently still trying to learn on him. And we asked him, "What made you go away? Why weren't you here? You know that we protect you." And the voice that we got through our spirit box, which is his voice, Burke's voice, saying it was too scary. So that makes me believe that all this storytelling, all these things that line up from what happened to one night to another, it really fits on what we went through, what we experienced. And now with the help, we are starting to gain back Burke. We're starting to see his power, right? And the house is no longer, we celebrated our kids' birthdays. People came, right? It's been really wild, really.
Yeah, no, because you, I remember I said that you guys called or messaged me through Instagram, like, "Hey, you got a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And you're like, "You think you can FaceTime and take care of something in the house?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And you're talking about that you think is a possible dark entity. It's been tormenting you. And I was like, "Oh shit." Because you didn't say anything about this. And I don't know if it got to a point where you thought maybe you could handle on your own or before you decided to call us, or you thought it might have gone away.
I honestly hope it was just, we tried using like sage and that, but I was just hoping it's just going to go away, to be quite honest. Like, it leads back to like having kids. What do you do, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to stir up anything more in the house. So, my idea, let's try to have someone come in. And what if, like, thank God it was you, but like, what if you couldn't find it at that moment? Then, like, you almost feel hopeless, right? Like, shit, there is something here, but it's being seen.
Well, yeah, it goes back to any episode. It doesn't matter what podcast we're on, and we get asked that question. Is we will never go out there promoting that this is what we can do, because just my team alone, I can't go to someone's house and remove something. And the closest ones that we have to us is Isaac and Megan. So, and that hence why it was so urgent for us.
Yeah, and the way we helped you is the same way we've been helping everyone from a distance. We can't go to your house, and obviously we have to do it through phone. And then I've learned to pull through electronic devices like this, the Zoom meetings or Instagram Live or any FaceTime. If I can physically see your place and I can push, my tendrils, release my hand through the phone, travels creating fourth dimension space to tear through one space to another, regardless of how far we are, and end up in your house and pull whatever's there from where you are to where I am. Now, that explanation alone sounds nuts that I'm capable of doing that. And when I try to tell people, most people that, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, it's insane. When you grasp everything that what we do as investigators, what I do is it's out there. But especially what I do, because no one's ever even heard about it before. It's so out there that no one even grasped that it could even work. But you guys, luckily, I don't know if you doubted beforehand or on the fence about it beforehand, but I know my ability has to be experienced to be 100% believed. I can tell you day and night over and over again, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And you're like, okay, he's a trustworthy guy. He doesn't really lie. He makes a lot of sense. So he wouldn't really bullshit us on this. But I want to know if it's the extent of what he really is talking about. And I can understand it. I would be on the fence too if someone told me what they could do, what I could do. I would have to feel it or see it to believe it. But in your such case, you felt the after effects. And we basically did the same thing I've done with other people, is that you basically had me POV. You walked me around your house. What we come to find out about these entities, there's always one with two servants. So there's always three together. And I took out the other two dark entities, human dark entities, mind you. So this demon that was in charge had two human dark servants with him. Scary enough, one of these dark human entities was in your son's room. Yeah.
That's right.
The other, I forgot where it was. It was like downstairs somewhere outside. But the demon was in your bedroom with Christy, crawling on the walls. Like, I remember I described it to other people, like a licker from Resident Evil, how it crawls on the walls and stuff like that. I didn't say it looked like that, but I said that's how it moved. But like every other thing that I pull, it could not stop me. And I took it away and interrogated it in the ring. Now, why it was there, it said you invaded its territory, which led me to believe you guys investigated someplace where it was, and it saw you and attached. But attached to Christy specifically because it said that she was a perfect potential, like a psychic that has potential for possession. So that's why I kind of wanted to. Then it comes to our theory that a lot of psychics are, not say all of them are prone for demonic possession, but demons see them as targets worthy of it. Like they see it like that's a good vessel to have. But in such case, I think with your situation, it probably never would have came for you if you never went. But the fact that it saw you and like, oh, who's this? Caught its attention. And that's what led to the situation you guys were in. Not saying that you guys should not investigate any places, but it does help that you know someone like us who can deal with these things just in case.
100%.
Yeah. I think the whole entire time how long did it take me?
It was about, I think, 15 minutes.
20.
Yeah, it was quick.
Because you were the people one was kind of traveling through
Yeah,
the bathroom to that.
he was able to pull. We found the one in Grayson's room next to him, like right away. We came downstairs and we found one in the corner there in the living room. And then when we were trying to, when Isaac got a hold of the lizard-like man in our bedroom, it got to the point where I guess he was frightened is the best way to describe it, but he started running on the walls, and it got to the point where Isaac reached out to Megan, she was able to contain that entity into one spot in the house. And once that was done, Isaac was able to go in and take control. So yeah, I'm going to say, in total, about 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes. If I was a pizza place, I would advertise that. Yeah. And I always tell people like how efficient you are with it. And I'm like, the testimonials tell the story alone, how fast, how quick, and how efficient everything we do. It's not the process of taking them out what takes long. It's the process of finding them that takes the longest. I have to find them. And when I find them, it's over and done with. But I've actually gotten more efficient with the pulling through the phone. Something I didn't tell you guys, that this is a small piece of Shadow Walker Part 5. But I guess whoever listened to this episode will hear it ahead of time. I've learned to pull an entire area or building, you would say, through the phone. Like how I do a ground pull, how to have my hand to the ground in order to pull the entire area. Not necessarily anymore. I can throw it through the phone and take an entire place at once.
Wow.
Yeah. Getting stronger. Let's say that. But the after effects is what most people want to know the most. So after that night, after I pulled everything out, after we discussed a little bit, and talked through that night into the following day, you felt the vibe change.
I personally, I was the one. So I'm Mike. I was the one that was guiding Isaac through our house, and I've developed this thing while we've been working on Christy, where I can feel a presence through my head. My head gets ice cold when there's a presence around, and when the presence leaves, I go back to kind of normal. Well, needless to say, for each entity that Isaac was pulling through our home, I would get so cold in my head until it was gone. And then it was like, I felt almost myself getting stronger. Like, yeah, I'm on an investigation right now with Isaac. Let's go to the next room, right? Like, let's go. It was crazy. And then when I was in that moment, I remember the last pull, and that was the lizard, is what I'm going to describe it as, in our bedroom, where when Megan was able to hold it, and Isaac had me point to a certain spot on the ceiling. Yes, my head got cold, but I remember physically looking at Christy and pinpointing with my right hand where I felt where this energy in the room was. And that went away. It was gone. And then we carried on. We all ended up having a conversation afterward. But, for the first night, I felt almost at ease. We won. We were able to keep a promise to our home. We will protect this home for all costs. I know Christy, on the other hand, she still felt like in her mind was telling her that there was something still there watching. There was something still there.
Yeah, I personally felt watched on this.
Yeah.
For a good 2-3 days after.
But
very happy.
It was almost the next day, my son woke up, good moods, good spirit. My daughter woke up, same thing. And then all that anger through the drawings has slowly disappeared. Now, it was about a week of time where, little bits would come out, and then he's like, I don't want to draw this no more. And then he'd start drawing like a bouquet of flowers for his mother, or smiley faces and things that made him happy. And now today, like, he wants to learn how to spell. He wants to learn his numbers. He wants to sit down and watch movies with you, with the family.
Which prior to that,
it never. Yeah. I think the best way to say it is like pulling teeth. Let's sit down and try to watch a movie. I think on both ends now, Christy's end and my end, the phone calls are coming in again, with friends and family. Hey, what are you guys up to? Do you want to hang out? We can come to your place. You can come to ours. So life, yeah, it did, right? Like a lot.
Like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. We went on to carry with life. But I think it's so great to see how quick that, like on my end, the turnaround time, going to work in a better mood, not feeling like a whole different person, not having to feel that I'm hiding something, I'll give you a reason to come over and hang out, but I'm really holding the lies within, right? I'm just so amazed that it's hard to sit and actually describe the feeling. It's really it's such a turnaround.
Yeah, and something I guess now I explain, but I guess I didn't explain at the time, is that, the last 2 cases we did, I explained. Yeah, there's been 2 cases after you guys that we've done so far. I explained that the sensation of what was there will stay for a couple of days because it's like a stain. And it takes a little bit of time for it to evaporate and leave. Now, there'll be remnants of it still around, but as of its full power, it'll dissipate over time. Now, you, Christy, have confirmed, or at least led me more faith into the theory of mine that these dark entities, Some that are in me and Megan's path are being watched from a distance to see how they get impacted from us. Not saying that you guys were experimented with, but I think somehow they knew me and Megan would be there. So something was watching to see how fast, how skilled can this person take these things out from across, the entire country. It's just a theory of mine. I first had it on one of the first times I ever took down a demon through an oppression case. I felt like somebody was watching from the distance. Even Megan said that too. She's like, there's something really far out there watching. And in your situation, you felt like you're still being watched. So that made me think, is there some possibility around it? But then you would have to start believing in the fact that some demons are being used as bait or used as an experiment by other higher ranking demons to see how these guys are being taken out so quickly and not reporting back. I don't know. There's a scarier thought in a world that we do not know nothing about that's going on. But that's scared to share anybody. But these situations give more validation to what we're doing, or at least what me and Megan are trying to, with our investigation team, with our abilities, how we're trying to get out there and help more people that are in your guys' situation, that are at their wits' end. Granted, you acted quickly, and your first person you called on to help was us. So luckily, you didn't have to go to the priest, go to the shaman, go to the psychic, go to the 4 or 5 other people before you get to me, and try and get rid of this. So you literally knocked it out of the park first try. I'll say that. But there are people out there that have no idea. I stumble upon us, might hear us by word of mouth at this pace right now. That seems to be the only pace we're going at right now until we start putting our name out there more. People who are at their wits' end with dealing with this stuff, like they tried and tried and tried, putting it off, and nothing's been helping. And when they hear there's a guy and these two, husband and wife, the New Age Warrens, as we've been called, are taking these things out in a quarter of the time it takes anybody else, and they're gone, and it's done, and it's over. There's no coming back. There's no second trips. Nothing. I gotta find out who the hell these people are. And in those situations, I guess they can hear me talk about it 100 times over, and like I don't know if they believe me or not, but when they hear from someone who is not part of my team, who is unbiased about the whole situation, and can tell you firsthand, that's where testimonials like these come in hand, or very, very valuable. So if you could tell someone who's listening to this episode that might be dealing with something that's kind of on the fence, what would you say to them?
Don't hesitate. If you know of Isaac and Megan, if you listen to the podcast, with us, it all started with listening to the podcast, listening to their story, making a friendship on social media, being invited to the podcast. It was a no-brainer when it came to our decision. It was it was instant. Let's reach out to Isaac and Megan. Let's see if they can help. And you did. So that's my advice is, even if you're not 100% sure, a phone call is all it takes. And with our story, with what happened with us, literally, that's what it took, was the phone call. It was a quick message. 10, 15 minutes later, we were on the phone. And 20 minutes after that, our situation was helped. It was dealt with. So please, for anybody out there struggling, I know it's hard having that conversation with someone, to admit that you may possibly have an attachment or there's something wrong in your home. It's tough.
And even so, like you said, Isaac, maybe not everybody, they believe what you can do, but same thing over the phone. Like, we have family members that believe in everything, but like through the phone, they're like, how do you do that through technology? And they even are like, holy crap.
They're mind blown.
They come over and chill. Before we were known as a spooky house. So, and that doesn't get brought up anymore.
Yeah. No, but
just make the call, really.
Make the call. Yeah.
You'll see for yourself when you do it.
And I think you'll feel better. Like I said, Christy went on about a week week of time thinking that there was something still watching her. But you get through that part. I think the hardest part is actually coming to grip with yourself to say, today's the day, and there's no tomorrow. So if you know them personally, it's a quick phone call. If you know them through social media, they're open, they're kind. Just send that message, and they'll come out guns blazing. And to me, I think
it's really cool to see that.
Yeah,
just watching how you do it, really amazing.
I love it. Like, I want to go on an investigation and see it firsthand.
Seeing it firsthand just looks like me grabbing something out of the air, but feeling it, that's a different part. Now, my hope is that Megan kind of sees it, but she's kind of closed her mind off to me altogether because she doesn't want to hear them when I pull them. She doesn't want to see what they look like when I pull them. So I'm waiting for a psychic to come around that can see the tendrils leave my hand, see what it looks like when I'm pulling them in, and it can, I want to hear from someone else's point of perspective besides my own, because that would be interesting conversation. Like, this is what you see. Oh, that'd be awesome to hear, because I see what I see in my mind's eye, but I want to see what someone else sees when I do this. Can see the entity, can see the tendrils wrap around like boa constrictors, condense and pull the energy into one location, and then see the energy leave my hand and go into an object. That's what I want someone to see. But
that'd be fascinating.
I see how it looks like in my mind's eye, but that's my own imagination, my own ability, essentially seeing them. At least how I interpret it anyway. But and it's interesting with you guys' case too, when it comes to those situations, that you guys are paranormal investigators. Like most people, they just, I bought this off Amazon, or I was walking one day, or I accidentally went to someone's abandoned location or something like that. You guys are consistently out there doing this. So as paranormal investigators, I know a lot of them out there would feel like they would have to swallow their pride and ask for someone else's help. But
not gonna lie, that was us too. Not even gonna lie, past that.
It's like, we're supposed to be the experts. We're the ones supposed to be out there able to do anything like this. So then, shit, we get, something.
But it does come to like Mike said though, like even if you investigated it, you do not have the ability to take it away. So, I mean, if you have those on your team, obviously extremely helpful, but, we probably could have got some answers out of whatever, but again, that leads to, I'm not investigating my home. So, what the hell do you do? Right?
And that's the thing is, we sat and spoke about our story together, trying to pinpoint, where possibly this could have came from. And this is based on the paranormal side. And I think what we believe is, we were at the BC Penitentiary Cemetery for the inmates that have passed away. And the story goes is, so we have pictures proving that Christy was the one sitting down doing Delco experiment. And during that time, the Delco experiment, for those who don't know, is the Estes method tied in with, oh geez, it just lost my tongue.
Anyways,
yeah. So anyways, what it is you're doing the Estes method, but instead of being blindfolded, you're wearing goggles with red LED lights, and it's pretty much a sight deprivation parapsychology method. So Christy was tuned into that. Phil and I were asking questions, and Christy was just responding to the words that she heard coming from the spirit. Needless to say, we were making contact with something or someone. At one point, it got to the point where Christy had a tap on her shoulder, which we have on video. And then shortly after that, a voice came through the spirit box, which Christy repeated, "Fine, I'll take this one." Once that happened, Christy, it got to the point where for her, it felt like it was too much. She wanted to end it. She didn't want to do it no more.
In these goggles, you can also see shadows. Pretty cool.
They're intense.
Right after I seen that, you could see and you see red the whole time. It just went completely dark. And I even said, "Is it supposed to go dark?" And after that, I was like, no. Phil was getting angry for some reason on that investigation as well.
There's a lot of things like for her to see complete darkness And the lights on the goggles that you as an investigator, you're looking at, those did not turn off. Those didn't go away. They were there. They were red. So for Christy to be able to see something black, cover goggles, and then have that kind of a response, and then being dealt with what we went through, it almost goes hand in hand. And that's where we strongly believe where this has come from. And now that it's gone, it's almost one of those things, like, oh, do you guys want to go back to Blue Hill Cemetery? Well, maybe not tonight. Maybe we'll go over here. It's become quite the story to tell, to be honest. Like, till this day, there's a team, Unearthing Shadows, that we're speaking to, and they want to hear the story, and a lot more people are wanting to figure out what happened. Why
who this Isaac and Megan is.
That's right. This is so awesome. How do we get introduced? We'll just follow the page, right? Say what's up. So yeah, it's been quite wild.
Well, at least I know we're getting recognition there. So
heck yeah.
It's funny with Canada too. And of all countries, I thought we would get more notice, and I think Canada would be the first. But no, you think paranormal investigations, you don't think Canada. Of all places, Canada really? No. But you guys have a long history of hauntings, just as like anywhere else.
Because today you need someone to ask what I do. I was wearing a sweater, and he's like, "I've never heard of that in Canada. I hear about it in the States." And it's like, get on the internet more than
we ain't got no ghost up here, eh?
Yeah. Right.
Does that annoy you when people do Canadian accents?
No, it's quite funny, actually.
Oh, okay. I have to meet anyone who sounds like comic, like cartoony-ish Canadian accent like that. So, but you meet 100 people who sound like anybody from New York or the southern areas or California. You'll find people who sound exactly how they get in we call it interpret in other countries. So anyway,
yeah, I think the funniest thing is like everyone that we've met, like from the UK and whatnot, they think that Canadians just live off maple syrup, and no matter what we do for a job, we are completely all lumberjacks. So it's weird.
I appreciate you guys coming on and telling your story of how we helped you guys out and stuff like that. And I hope that this reaches more people to understand that we can help them. And like I've said before, this is only one of many testimonials that will happen in the future. We're going to have a lot more. And I I fear, but I hope that is never in short supply of us helping people, because there's not a lot of people like me. And if there is, they're not doing anything to get known or at least help other people. So it seems as of right now, I'm the only one.
Right.
And Megan, with her remote viewing abilities and channeling and able to corral these dark entities into one place, unlike anything's been heard before, So
not at least not out our way. I remember sitting down for coffee, and
no one can do it.
Something, this particular team looked at us and said, if you're going out there in the paranormal world telling me you can actually take away spirits and entities, I'm going to call your bluff. And this is after we met Isaac and Megan and got to know them. So my reply back to her was just hold on tight, because it's coming. And I tell everybody that I'm not going out there saying I built a team with Isaac and Megan. What I have said is I've built an army so strong that it's going to be very hard to slow us down. And yes. I think moving forward, we've proven that with our story and what we've been through.
Like I was saying before, appreciate you guys coming on, telling your story. And where can everybody find the Unknown Paranormal?
You can find us on Instagram at the Unknown Paranormal, Facebook, the Unknown Paranormal BC, TikTok, Top Investigator.
All of our major links are on Instagram. Yeah,
definitely Instagram's the number one.
And the newest thing too, also for the listeners out there that want to hear more about us and people like us, we have the 2023 issue, British Columbia issue of American Paranormal Magazine.
Yes. You guys snippet in the magazine. That's impressive, because we haven't even got there yet.
It will come.
But I appreciate you guys coming on. And as always, we'll catch your Weirdos in the next one.